and Kotaro missing. Well, not missing, but doing other things. So Hami says that he's even more unlucky than Lucky was earlier.
So
Gato hears and the unlucky. So thoughts?
this is why I don't like the roulette wheel for deciding who deploys. There is no like divine prophet determining like, okay, this is the team up that will be good for this mission. This is just pure chance. And I like that they address the issue of there is the distinct possibility that someone will just get screwed over like this.
Right, and it was fully pointed out, especially with this episode, because there are so few members with it, that literally the only person who really gets left out that really wants to go is Garu. So it just seems kind of bad to me. I understood it from a fundamental point with these when the series started, with the buildup of, oh, well, we can only send 5 people, but we've got 9. And then it jumped up to 11, and then now 3 of them are gone. But still, it cuts down into a fundamental issue of there are people that are right for the job, right to go on these missions, that are probably a better choice, but because you're doing this by chance, they get stuck on the back, on the bench where they shouldn't be, because they're needed for the mission. And and it always usually leads up into a really poorly contrived reason for them to end up being at that point later on in the episode.
And the only reason we're even doing this roulette chance anyways is because of Lucky's gimmick of being lucky. They need to show like, oh yeah, he always gets picked because he's lucky. That's probably the most contrived thing about this whole series.
Right. The only time it seemed passable was on the episode where Lucky wasn't lucky. But it still feeds back with him constantly getting picked, and most likely continuously from here on out getting continuously picked, comes down to the poor idea of, well, he's lucky again. It's like it I get the idea, because this whole entire design is based on luck, but just from the standards of probability, he shouldn't be on every mission. He should be out for a fair portion of them, and we all know he won't be.
Because they made him the body of the mech, they gotta have him there for the giant mech battles.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of interesting though how they kind of bend the rules. Like we had Kotaro just sneak on the Shishi Voyager, and then this episode Sholompo kind of said, oh well, we need to send 6, and then later in the episode he just says, alright, I need to go in my mech. So I guess that's kind of interesting, and it adds to that whole scheme. But then we cut to a couple sharing some crepes, whatever, in secret. A governor complains that their date is too luxurious and teleports the man to a prison cell on Amoraimazu. He continues saying Earthlings don't need luxury. Then he goes on to capture a well-dressed man and a gourmand as well. Governor Yutaru Jan will send all guys in luxury to jail. All his prisoners are literally men, so I guess he doesn't pick on women. Now that the job is done, the governor will have a luxurious celebration at Luxury Heaven Space Dragon Palace. And then we get the opening.
That's the coolest name ever. Space Dragon Palace? I'd go there. But so Dark Matter is clearly trying to be like a dictatorship or something like that. So the idea of them being like, well, the people we're trying to dominate don't need luxury. I get that. It makes sense and it fits in. But everything about this guy just makes Dark Matter feel like a shitty version of the Shadow line from KyuuRanger. Bashi? Did your mic cut out? Oh.
Okay.
Our
Yeah.
balls have been exposed live on stream, guys.
Okay, Bashi will be back. So then, let's see. Oh yeah, after the opening, we cut to Oriongo. We get the episode title, Space 14, Dance, Space Dragon Palace. Raptor explains that the governor has gone to Space Dragon Palace. Balance is excited because it sounds like a place that would have treasure. Okay, Vashi's back. Sholumpo explains that it's a mobile pleasure banquet that travels through dark matter space. Raptor adds that it's used by civilians and dark matter commanders in secret. I'm not sure why they need to use it in secret, because they're super powerful, but I guess they have a reputation.
Our
The
evil
Rangers are shown...
overlords can't possibly just be dining on fine omelet rice.
Yeah, I guess, and have maids tend to them in a cute manner, yeah. So, let's see. The Rangers are shown a promotional music video with the owner, a golden alien with a big afro. And, yeah, pretty funny cameo, to say the least. Pretty short, though. Any thoughts?
Not really, because I just kind of said my thoughts about how the name of the place is really cool. What about you, Vashi?
Well, my net dropped, so I apologize to the listeners, but I don't really have much at the moment. I'm not sure exactly where one item in particular that I saw that got pointed out to me takes place, so I'll save that to the end, but it does involve the palace.
Okay. So then, let's see. Raptor continues that they'll impersonate staff to stop the governor, while a second team will free the captured people. Hami's optimistic that Gato will be needed, because he's a good fighter, but he's still pretty depressed. Lucky reminds him of his own words, and he gets a bit pumped up. Sholompo announces that 6 members will be going. The rescue unit is Lucky and Spada. The diversionary unit is Hami, Naga, Balance, and finally Garu. Then we cut to the palace. The diversion team are dressed like butlers, and Hami's dressed like a maid. Balance notices a decorated box and plans to get it later. And then the governor arrives. Raptor points out his remote that's on his hip, which controls the prison cells, but she doesn't know which one is the correct button. Very important. Then we cut to the Moraimazu. The 2 Rangers quickly take out 2 Indibi and move on. Then back to the Space Palace. Hami is taken away from the governor right away to attend to different customers off screen. Balance brings the governor omelet rice. However, he's not impressed with Naga and Garu's presentation. Raptor is concerned by his decreasing happiness levels. I don't know how they're monitoring that, but they are.
The look on his face.
So drastically. His one eye just tells it all.
Yeah. Through all of this episode, that was the biggest question I had, was how are they even remotely able to gauge just how much it's dipping? Because there are a few points where it goes, oh, well, this is dipped, this much. Oh, now it's jumped down. Oh, now it's jumped even further down, higher, more than, pardon me, I apologize for that. But it kind of jumped more and more to the, how are you getting this information? Logistically speaking, unless that ship has amazing technology that nobody has explained yet, they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree, Kingston. We did see in the beginning bit Raptor did get picked on some of the sorties that Garu got left out of, but yeah, would definitely like to see more of her. And we did get to see more of her on the ship this episode, but yeah, it'd be nice to see her on the sorority teams.
Raptor
And I
is in
think,
the boat that I feel like Kotaro is in, where they were introduced as Rangers way too soon because they're not getting any play.
Right, and they were introduced too soon. I think this. I understand what Toei was trying to do with the change in the mold. I get that. I can live with that. But beyond the main five, and even with the ones that we started out with, they were kind of rushed out. Then they haven't really been giving much padding since in terms of why we should care about them on a personal level, and even more so with the ones that are beyond the, or the original five. So especially with Raptor, literally the only thing we know about Raptor, she wants to fight, and that's her dream, because she would apparently make a better Akiba Ranger than a KyuuRanger.
Also, she can fly.
Yes, she can fly, which I'm still trying to figure out why they gave her robot wings. You could easily just given her jet boots or something, but I get it. Costume, whatever. But with Raptor, all we know is she's a dreamer and she's basically the pilot of the ship. Okay, cool. But why can't, if they're not going anywhere, because they're sitting in orbit around the Earth at the moment, why has she not been on more missions? And again, this comes back down to the rule of probability. She should have been picked several times, and instead it's only been just 1 or 2 missions.
She's been picked a couple of times, but she only gets like 1 line on the missions, if that. So it might as well not have been there.
Right, and it ends up passing over what could have been an amazing character that are just, they're not, they don't feel invested in Raptor the way they should as a team. It's just one of those, oh, you're here, hi, okay, bye. It doesn't make sense.
well, I know that next episode is going to be more Hami focused, but I do think Raptor's on the sortie team, so hopefully she gets some attention. Then, yeah, so Sholompo suggests that the team serves the governor sushi because one of the politeness modifiers in Raptor's speech. So then the Uo Kyutama is used. It summons a giant fish, but it's alive and pretty heavy. Gato can't hold it, and he knocks the governor down. However, he uses the opportunity to press the pink button on the remote, but it creates a pitfall trap for the rescue team, who are sent rolling out of the Moraimazu into crates and barrels outside. And I kind of like the cartoonish thing where they're like frozen in midair and they like look at each other. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was like a funny gag. But the problem with it is that because they literally the only reason they fall is because they literally stop in midair. Like, they were already mid-jump anyways. By momentum, they should have kept going and made it. So it's really weird to just see them, like, stop and then fall. Also, why did that button unlock a trapdoor in that specific hallway and only that specific spot?
Maybe they've had so many break-ins that they know the path that everybody takes.
The timing, though.
I mean, that's literally the only possible thing. And I guess, if you want to go a step further, maybe they have security cameras so they know when somebody's at that spot so they can hit the button and drop them out.
They didn't, though. Garu did.
Well, I mean, in terms of, Garo's in. I'm trying to justify the palace having, or the Mazu having those traps at the moment. The Garo thing was just pure absolute bullshit luck.
Although you saying that
Bad
makes
luck,
me
but-
realize that the best gag would have been if in the end it did turn out that like a security guard was pressing the button and the buttons Garo were pressing were just doing stuff completely like negligible.
Oh, that would have been amazing, and
That would have been the
I would have
best.
loved that. But to me, with watching this scene and others throughout this episode, it really feels like right before the writer sat down to write this episode, they watched a crap ton of Wile E. Coyote.
Saban has had influence in this series. They probably showed them old American cartoons for jokes.
Oh
I mean,
god.
Because the instant stop of momentum is literally Wile E. Coyote.
Right.
Because by momentum, they
Okay.
should never have fallen down that hole.
So, I recognize the gag as like an old Looney Tunes gag, and you recognize it as that. What didn't occur to me though was how super weird that must have been for a Japanese audience. I saw it and went, "Oh yeah, I know what that is, haha." What would like a Japanese 12-year-old kid see that and be like? Because they don't know the reference.
It's still kind of funny watching them just totally crash into all the barrels and stuff outside. And that rolling animation that they had going for them was kind of silly.
As personally to me, as bad as this episode turned out, not for the fact of that this episode was particularly bad. This was a fantastic episode, but to me, as a Sentai episode, it does kind of fall very, very lackluster compared to others that we've had in the series. To me personally, by far more than anything else. And it's just one of those things of this was very, very well done. And I want to stress that a lot of this episode was very well done. It was very, very comedic. It just did not seem like a Sentai episode.
I have never seen that Wile E. Coyote gag in any anime I have watched. You could argue that I haven't seen enough anime, but I have not seen that gag in any of them. Also, the how Sholampo sent them the Kyutama. He threw it into the hole on the pool table.
Yes, I meant to bring this up. We have officially proven that freaking Raptor playing pool with the damn Q-Tamas is bullshit.
Like, didn't I say last week, like, why can't they just dunk it in? And then here, Sholampo literally, like, back tosses it or something.
And it was one of those things of, you proved my point. You've now, like, I could have been fine if literally all they ever did was have Raptor or anybody hit the cue ball into the Q-Tama and knock it down. If they would have stuck with it, as much as it would have irritated me and made me question it,
We
I
wouldn't
could've
have
lived
been
with
able
it.
to prove them wrong.
Exactly. We would not have been able to sit here and go, this is stupid. You have now made something that could have been used as being cute and whatever for whatever design it was that they decided to go with that. It went to, we have now wasted your time just to pad an episode for a couple of seconds.
Well, at least Raptor got some more screen time.
Hold on, Kingston. In that scenario, is Lucky trying to catch the Roadrunner? Because, I don't know.
Yeah, let's move on. This might be kind of awkward for people who are watching later. So, yeah, the governor's happiness goes down even further. Sholompo suggests doing some tricks with pigeons. So Naga uses the Hato Kyuutama. Balance fails at summoning pigeons from his hat, but some plastic pigeons fall on the floor. Naga tries again, and glitter flies out of the hat this time, but it's pretty annoying to the governor, and it's all in his face. But Garu uses the chance to press the green button, which creates yet another pitfall for the rescue team, who now have to star change and fight their way to the prisoners. Raptor feels like the Rangers are being danced around by Sholompo and his ideas. So he then suggests that they cheer up the governor by dancing. And Raptor gets pretty angry. But Sho sends the Koto Kyutama, which is like a harp. The three start dancing to a soft version of the ending song. But the governor has no desire to see men dance. Garu trips and falls on the governor. He presses the yellow button and once again creates a pitfall. The two brace themselves and stop their fall, but a pan falls on Spada's head, and then he falls on Lucky, bringing them back to ground level once again.
Where did that come from? Like, did I miss something? Where did that pan come from?
Came from Japan.
Dumb joke, but very well done, Decade. Yeah, that was the question I had, was where the pan came from. Aside from the fact that apparently that is a massive, massive big gag. Because I mean, I've seen that. And hell, that was an entirely a power in Ninja.
You know what?
One of their ninjutsus did it.
Oh, right. I was thinking what else I was going to say. So, Raptor getting super mad at Sholompo just, like, picking one word from what she says and deciding that's a good idea was really great. And then Sholompo ignoring her and going through with the idea anyways is even better.
Yeah, that was great. But can we point out Balance's little magic trick? Just when the pigeons, where he does, because it fails obviously, and just like toy pigeons come out, he picks one up and literally just like kind of hops to the governor as if he was a pigeon.
I imagined that they were dead birds.
Initially, that's what I thought, is that the fact they were dead, until I realized that they were just like the finger puppet head things.
I saw that they were fake from the beginning. I just pretended that they were dead to make it even funnier for me.
I'm sure you're not the only one.
Probably not. I'm pretty sure half of the people who watched this episode did, just to make the episode a little bit better.
This was a surprisingly funny episode.
Yep. So then Raptor wonders if the governor only likes girls because the dancing failed. Sholompo sends the Otome Kyuutama. Garu uses the Kyuutama, and it puts him in drag, pretty much. Gives him makeup and a fancy wig. At this point, Raptor completely loses it and throttles Sholompo. Garu looks in the mirror and is completely defeated by his bad luck. However, Governor Yuteru-jan is infatuated and takes Garu for a dance. Lucky and Spada arrive at the cells, but so do reinforcements. While Garu is dancing, he contemplates which button to press. Red or blue are the only ones left. Lucky tells him to test his luck, like he told Lucky to do in the Unlucky arc. He snatches the remote and presses blue, which frees the prisoners. The three throw off their outfits, revealing their identity, and start beating up on Dark Matter. Hami shows up and stays behind while the other three chase the governor, who retreated. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, so first off, when Raptor was talking about figured out like, oh wait, maybe this guy is only interested in girls, and Shalompo literally pulls out a Kyutama, my legit reaction was, "You have one for this motherfucker?" Like, girl?
It's why does he have a Kyutama that literally changes at least the physical sex of the person of anybody? And why is this a thing?
I thought it just dressed Garu up as a girl.
I think it did, but I mean, just the thought process on it of, hey, let's give this to a dude so he can get away with being a chick for a minute. Why? What does that accomplish aside from this very, very specific reason?
Right? Like, they've shown that some of these limited utility Kyutama could still have function, but this one has almost no function beyond I'm late for my date.
Wow. I mean, there gets a lot of talk through a lot of Toei and whatnot, because it's real heavy with it, with Ex Machina. You know, the one key little thing that happens that should never have happened for any logical reason, that just happens to help them get or do whatever they need to do. And it's just one of those things of, this is literally the Ex Machina. There is no other explanation for this existing. It's a freaking Ex Machina.
This is our
it's dumb and highly disturbing.
This is our Forze style Ex Machina.
I don't know. I'm kind of fine with it because they did show how Lompo's ideas and the other Kyutamas just totally failed. Oh yeah, that is a good point. When when they're doing repairs on the Oriongo and Naga decides, oh, we should all get something to drink, but the Kyutama literally just summons empty cups.
I forgot about that, Kingston. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, thank you, because I forgot about it too. There are apparently some really, really dumb Kyutama. And that one, the one Kingston brought up, really is truly, to me, stupid. I mean, I know there's a constellation that involves cups and water and all that. So I get it, but at the same time, why is there a Kyutama that literally summons a cup?
Why is the KyuuRanger's grand power traffic safety? Like, just like there are some grand powers that are useless, I guess there are some Kyutama that are useless.
One reason I thought this was kind of funny was that typically, whenever they do some cross-dressing bit in Sentai, it's usually like the human guys, but this time they literally cross-dressed the furry, and it's just like super ugly, but pretty hilarious at the same time.
And that commander was super into it.
Oh yes, he was. He was. Oh, by God, was he into it. But to me, the funniest part about Garo in drag was the fact that they didn't put like makeup on him in terms of like lipstick. They literally just glued 2 pieces of cut felt to his face. I get there's only so much you can do with a furry costume, but come on, it obviously has lips. You could have easily just like taken a little bit of paint and painted it red. But no, we're just gonna cut out.
Make it look dumber. Make it look dumber.
Yeah. So then the two teams rendezvous and corner the governor. Balance has a sling holding something around his shoulders. They star change and do an on-site roll call that was pretty nice. And then we get a pretty decent fight. Yutaru-Jan presses his badge, which deploys the robo. Shalompo deploys in Ryuteo with Balance and Naga as the arms. Looks pretty nice. And then we get that decent insert song that we've been getting. The Robo uses the palace as kind of like a shield, but Hami reports that she's pretty much evacuated all the customers from it. Before being destroyed, the governor asks Garu to go out with him. But Garu says, nope, sorry. And then they destroy him with the galaxy. Go ahead.
Like, he literally, like, does not care that he finds out Garu's a guy. He's like, I can't help it. I'm into this.
It's just creepy. It literally went from being this weird drag queen thing to gay love, which is fine. It's completely acceptable. I can live with it. I have no problem with it. It just seemed really, really odd with this episode. It seemed out of place, but at the same kind of time, it does kind of tie into Garo's remark to Lucky a couple episodes ago.
Oh, not this again.
With the "that's the man I fell in love with," it calls that translation into question of whether or not we have a gay Sentai member. Which, if that's the case, awesome, well done, Toei. And Saban, if it's their influence or whoever's influence it is, that's great. It's whether or not they'll run with it or if it'll be just something that they use literally for a gag.
Also, glad to see Hame did something this episode. That is both dry but true, because she only does one thing, but hey, she evacuated the people.
Right, and I would have liked I would have liked to seen a little bit more of her evacuating the people than what little bit we did. But yeah, at least she was put to use rather than show up, throw a few punches, and disappear without saying anything.
And it's a pretty good way to set up for the next episode, in which she's pretty much going to be the hero if everything goes well.
I really hope next episode is a good one.
Yep. So back on the Oriongo, Balance opens the stolen box, much to everyone's dismay. When he does open it, he's covered in a dust, but appears unchanged. However, he states that he feels like he's 400 years old now. So that powder aged him 100 years. And he's actually pretty excited because now he has 100 birthdays that he needs to celebrate. And Naga congratulates him, and they kind of celebrate. Garu's glad that he caught his own luck. The Rangers tease him for catching the governor's heart as well. Episode end.
Was that box a reference to Urashima Taro? Because if not, I don't know what the reference was.
I don't either. Zero may have a thought on that if he decides to jump in and give his thoughts on the episode. So, from what I understand, I don't think he's watched the episode, but he may understand the reference.
Like, if you don't know what Urashima Taro is, it's the story about a guy in older Japan who helps out a sea turtle. The sea turtle ends up being a magic princess who invites him to her home. He goes, spends 3 days there, and then decides, hey, I should go back to my home. She gives him a box and tells him not to open it. He goes, finds out he's been missing for like 300 years, opens the box, and it contained his age inside of it, and he ages to dust.
That may be the reference, but didn't it go backwards? At least in Sentai, didn't it go back 100 years?
No. He was 300 years old.
Oh, he was 300. He jumped to 400. Okay.
Yeah.
That from I can only imagine that that's what the reference was to. I literally know nothing else that of any type of literature that it could be a reference to or show or whatnot.
And I don't. The only reason I'm skeptical is I don't know what made the others think that like the box was dangerous, which might provide some context.
Balance stole it. I mean, this is balance, and he has been shown not to show really that much discretion with what he wants to steal, other than the fact that it's from dark matter. So it could have highly, probable that it was something dangerous. I don't know what they possibly could have been. But real quick, there was something that I had noticed because somebody on Tumblr had pointed it out to me. We had a cameo this episode, and nobody noticed it, from what I can understand, aside from this one person who sent it to me.
Go on.
Inside the treasure the palace was a member from GoKaiger. Jelashito was in this episode.
Oh!
I did not see that, but I'm so not surprised
Oh
that
God!
they brought him up.
So yes, and now what is this? A third series that he has been in? 'Cause you had GoKaiger. He showed up in, granted, the little off DVD things for KyuuRanger or KyuuRanger, and now he's in this. So yes, where I guess that would explain why there are fur aliens.
He was just a comic relief villain in GoKaiger, but I just love that they're playing him up like this.
Right, and it's always in something minor outside of. I mean, you had the whole him as a teacher thing in KyuuRanger, the DVD things, but with the fact that they just keep throwing him in is adding, albeit very slightly, continuity to these shows are all taking place in the same universe. It's not the alternate dimension crap that they used to do.
He's not important, he's just there.
It's just enough to go, huh.
Does he work for Dark Matter now? Who knows? He's not important.
He's evolving.
So I have a theory now that explains why there are fur aliens beyond the fact of there being fur aliens. KyuuRanger, for those of you who have not seen it, this will be a rather big spoiler of the very end of the series, as in like the last scene of the series. So
Countdown. 5,
Spoiler alert.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The KyuuRanger world and the human world mixed, and there are human and animal hybrids running around the planet. I guess that affected more than just Earth, and it affected the entire universe and galaxy, however far you want to go on this.
That could be a thing.
That's the only reason I can logically have with Jelashito being in this series. Even if it's just a small little dumb cameo like this, it adds precedence to continuity.
Spoiler over if you're looking for those words. Okay, so something else I wanted to bring up was about the actual fight scene where we have the duel between so we have the on the ground fight and the mech fight going on at the same time. How often do we get that?
That's very, very rare, and I only know of one series recently, only because I went back and I started watching it again because it happens in Go Buster a lot. I mean, literally, that was literally the first mech fight in Go Buster.
Right. Here it was.
Beyond that, I don't know if I've seen it since. I'm sure I have. Outside of actually no, because they did it in KyuuRanger 2 with them fighting the weird amalgamation of the grunts, while the other team was fighting the monster on the ground.
Here it was done a little poorly because you didn't get to see much of them fighting at the same time. It was just different cuts. However, we do get to see them do their finishers at the same time. The camera will be angled so that you're seeing the on the ground finisher and then in the background the mech finisher. They're both just stupid lasers, but hey, it's something.
Yep. Well, that's actually the end of the episode. Any final thoughts?
No, I think I've said everything. All right.
Sorry, my I have to remember how my mute button works.
All right. So, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah. On a whole, I mean, I said it before. I'm just going to reiterate it here. On a whole, I think this was a great episode. In terms of it was funny, there was a fair bit of seriousness in it, but overall tone of this entire episode was slapstick comedy. It was just funny, and while the action scenes were great, I think there could have been more, which to me personally would have made it feel more like in a Sentai episode for this series. This episode seemed like it would be more in place with a more funny Sentai series than this one, because this one does tend to it does wobble in terms of whether or not it wants to be funny or serious. But I think this one ended up taking the funniness to the extreme that made it seem out of place.
I see what you're saying. Like, this was a good like episode. Like, it was a good just comedic relief one. But in a series that where most episodes usually leave us wanting more, and not in a good way, having an episode like this kind of feels out of place. Like, why are you wasting our time?
Like, don't get me wrong, I would love more fun episodes in this series. It does have its moments of levity with it. It's like, but given the serious nature of the threat in terms of the whole universe, I think this was a bit too much, because you're supposed to be rescuing the entire galaxy. Instead, you're having pratfalls down trap holes 4 or 5 times in an episode, which I think it was only 3, but that and the weird drag queen thing, I don't know, I still have confused about that one.
Don't let it haunt your dreams tonight. Or do.
For those of you that are into it, by all means enjoy that dream.
I think that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.